Hey everybody, is Kaspa ready to make a huge move? Hey, Jim here, former sleight of hand coin magician and amateur small rodent taxidermist, using only materials found in the average kitchen. So what are we talking about here in this Kaspa chart? Well, you see we've got two patterns here that are outlined in white. And both of these patterns are extremely bullish. Both of these patterns have fully confirmed by a breakout. And both of these patterns should be acting together to bring us to a new all-time high in fairly short order. Now, I say short order, that doesn't mean days. Could be, but I think it probably means weeks. And I think probably the final target would probably be reached more along the order of a 2 to 3 months. Okay, so what are we looking at? Well, to begin with, let's talk about this pattern right here. This is an inverted head and shoulders pattern. Inverted head and shoulders patterns and head and shoulders tops are both a highly predictable pattern. They tend to perform better than just about any other pattern you see in a chart. They have been long recognized. This is not a new thing. As a matter of fact, I learned about inverted head and shoulders patterns and head and shoulders tops, and the inverted version is what we're looking at here. I learned about these in a book written in the 1940s. And people back then, think in terms of 1940s. People didn't have computers. If you wanted to be a stock chartist, you had to go buy some graph paper or make your own graph paper. And then you had to get a copy of the newspaper every day and look in the back of it to find out what your stock did that day or the previous day. And it was a hassle. But even with all that hassle, these people started seeing, when you see this pattern, that is a dip, a larger and longer dip, and then a smaller dip, that the outcome would be, with 75 to 80% accuracy, the outcome would be a minimum of a target equal to the depth of the pattern. In this particular case, that's where you perhaps have seen the number 0.068 floating around. That's where that comes from. That's where that points to. Okay? So we have this pattern. Well, we broke out of that pattern. Then we started to pull back a bit. We actually fell underneath a rising channel here. But instead of that channel creating a top, it appears that that channel has created another inverted head and shoulders pattern. And there is that one. And guess what? Just like this one broke out in July, this one has broken out just yesterday and into today. So what does this pattern tell us? Well, this pattern, by the way, where do we get the measurement from? How do we do that? Well, simple. You measure the depth of the pattern. I'll just use a stick to do that right there. Okay, you measure the depth of it. I'll make that green because that's what my other measuring stick is. And then you put that right at the spot where it broke out, and you see what it says. And in this particular case, it's about 5.5 cents. So the small pattern says we should get up to 5.5 cents. The larger pattern says we should get up to about 6.8 cents. So that's why in the channel I've been saying that 6.8 cent pattern is probably 75% predictive. But when you add that onto what just happened, I'm saying that 5.5 cent is probably more like 80 or 85% going to happen. So let's take a look, a little bit closer look now. We'll look on a 5-minute chart. I made a comment today when we were seeing a little bit of selling pressure. I made the comment right about the time when we got down to about 4.3 cents. I said that might be a good spot to buy because that is a return to the neckline of the inverted head and shoulders pattern, and typically a return to the neckline is an opportunity to buy. It's not an opportunity to sell. It's what you look for after. If you've missed the breakout or if you weren't in it already before the breakout, then this was a good spot to get in. Now it looks like over the past 10, 11 hours, however long it's been, 12 hours, it looks like we have formed a little bit of a line of resistance. I'm just going to use blue for this. Why? Sometimes it doesn't do what I want it to do. So look here. We got a little line of resistance right there. And guess what? I bet we could say this is a bit of a line of support. And that starts to look like a triangle. If we look on the chart of Kaspa, we find many triangles. As a matter of fact, we had a triangle over here that formed for the right inverted shoulder of the inverted head and shoulders pattern. That's a triangle that formed. If we zoom out even more, let's go to a 2-hour chart. And if, excuse me, if we look at the bottom where the head of this pattern formed, guess what? You got it. A triangle. Right there. So triangle, this one served as a reversal, okay, because we had come down to an area of where we would expect some support. This one served as a reversal. This one is serving, this one between these two orange lines is serving as a continuation pattern. By the way, even just this little triangle tells us to expect about 4.5 cents. So we have numerous things in this chart that say Kaspa is in a very bullish situation. And instead, remember we had some people talking about, oh, this is a head and shoulders top we have going on right here. There's the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. Yeah, except for it didn't act that way. Okay, remember I was mentioning that when we got down, and I thought this might have been a head and shoulders top for a while, but when we got underneath that neckline, it just didn't act right. And then I started taking it apart a little bit, and I said, well, it's not really your typical head and shoulders top setup. So anyway, just thought I'd throw this out to you there. Excuse me. We'll see where we go, but we now have two targets, 6.8 cents and about 5.5 cents. And of course, we've got this this orange triangle right here that says, well, about 4.5. So everything right now says higher. Nothing says lower. So if you are long Kaspa, and I hope you are, it's looking pretty darn good. Thanks for watching.